most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly. And you notice the co-host with the most, he's not with me today, right? He's traveling the world right before I go off to travel the world. So instead, I traded up. I got an even better co-host right here today, folks. Don't tell Nano I said that. We got Crossover MMA in the house, sitting in the hot seat right next to yours truly. How we doing, Cross?
Brother, I'm doing amazing. Like, you know, after such a really good card, this past weekend, and then on top of it, get to chop it up with you, man. Can't go wrong, brother.
Let's go, man. Love that. Love that. And dude, you're right. UFC 314 was one of those cards that it's all time. We say this time and time again. You and I have had this conversation ad nauseum, in person, virtually, like on WhatsApp, on probably 8 different freaking apps. We've had the same conversation where you see a card on paper and you're like, oh man, this is the one, man. And then you see it and it just it doesn't deliver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's flat, falls flat on paper. Or the opposite, right? You'll see the Apex card and you're like, well, I recognize 2 names on this entire 13 fight card. And then it's got like a 90% finish ratio on that card, right? So this is one of those that it is what it is, right? It is equals is. The paper, the play out, the math is mathing. It was fantastic. I feel like, you know, I bet wrong on a handful of these fights. I was right on a lot more than I was wrong, and I'll take it. I'm not even mad about the ones I was wrong about because we got a good fight. At the end of the day, if the guy or girl I voted on or chose didn't win, it's okay as long as the fans win. And I feel like every single fan, if you like mixed martial arts, you won on Saturday evening. And it was my birthday, bro. It just felt, I mean, it was the best gift I could have asked for, bro.
Bro, like the card delivered, you just like you said, you'll see those cards where you look at it on paper and you're like, oh yeah, that's going to be a banger. And then it gets there and it's just not quite what you thought it was going to be. And then, you know, you have a flip side, but man, when you have one that you're looking forward to and it delivers, bro, it's phenomenal. I mean, it honestly, the UFC had to remind us why we all like MMA so much.
Facts. This was a surging reminder of why we tune in, what, like 50 Saturdays out of 52, 49 Saturdays out of 52 or so. So yeah, I got to agree with Miss Mary 616 here. Amazing card, great moments, bad calls. It had it all. Looking at you, Dan Ige.
The rest of the Dan Ige fight.
We are going to get into it. Oh, man. And somehow, some way, Paddy Pimblett lost that first round on all judges' scorecards. So let's jump on into this fight, this entire fight night, this pay-per-view, because we have a lot to talk about, folks. And it all started in the women's bantamweight division, right? Between Nora Cornell and Haley Cowan. And holy smokes, my goodness. This was a quick one. I thought this was going to be a bit more of a grindy, windy fight, but boy, was I wrong. Crossover. Tell the people what you thought about this fight.
So, brother, just like you, I was expecting this, you know, to go past 3 rounds. I was expecting the decision here. We get the first round, man. Haley Cowan ends up on top on the ground exactly where she wants to be. Pretty much banks round 1. And then, I don't know, Nora Cornell comes out of the corner for round 2, like just a dog on a leash that hadn't eaten in about 2 days and was just on Haley Cowan. Gets the takedown, gets her back, put the hooks in, and it's good night, Irene. I mean, what a way to start the card off with a finish. Like, you got to love that, brother.
I definitely wasn't mad at it. I'll tell you that. I sprinkled a tiny little bit on Haley Cowan just because when there's an underdog on the first or second early prelim of the night, it's almost never that me and Nano agree. And we both agreed that Haley Cowan looked like the more physically dominant fighter in this. And she did walking out. Like, she looked really strong, but Nora just started putting it on her at some point, right? Like, she really took over the pacing of the fight. She saw what Haley had, almost let Haley come out and show her cards early on. And then from there, she's like, cool. You've got 3 aces. That's cute. I got 4 of a kind. Let's play. And she came at her. And it was your cards versus mine. She showed that she was the more well-rounded and just overall better fighter, improves to 9-2, and ultimately finishes the fight in round number 2 with a submission just 1 minute and 52 seconds in. I know both of these women are barely making their mark, right? In the women's bantamweight division. They're just over 10 fights in their careers each. Do you have a name on the tip of your tongue? If not, I'm happy to move past this one, but just figured I'd ask.
I do not have a name because, I mean, with Corno, it's tricky because she has the 2 losses, but her 2 losses are Jacqueline Cavalcanti, which is a fighter I really like and think a lot of people need to start paying attention to in that division. But I mean, yeah, I don't really have a name for her. What about you?
I was thinking Joseanne Nunez. I think that'd be a fun fight for her. I think it'd be a step up in competition, but not biting off more than she can chew, right? Yeah, I was impressed with her. I thought she used her keys to victory to get there. And I don't know how it would go against a Joseanne Nunez. I think Joseanne Nunez is someone in the women's bantamweight division that is able to kind of sit down on her punches and crack those overhands and hooks. So what happens when you are getting popped? Are you still able to implement that ground game as successfully as you did against a Haley Cowan? But yeah, I don't have much more than that on that one. Want to jump into these comments real quick. DJ Serenity now. Dude, are you an actual DJ? That's sick. I love that. The air horns for the DJ. 314 lived up to the hype. And then Andrew Nance. Yeah, 315, not so hot.
Hopefully we're wrong. Hopefully we're wrong.
Maybe we'll be wrong and 315 will be fun. DJ Serenity picking up what you're putting down, brother. I'm not so negative to think that 315 is going to be a stinker. I think 315 is going to be one of those times where we're looking at it on paper and it's not really that appealing, right? But some of the best things you eat in life don't really look that good. But then you taste them and you're like, oh, that's fire, bro. Okay, it looks. I think this is one of those cards. I don't think it looks super sexy on paper, but boy, do I think we're going to have some sexy finishes in there because stylistically, there's some bangers on that card, folks. I think we're underestimating it.
And I think what'll happen is by the time the card gets here, we'll all be like chomping at the bit for it and we'll be excited for it.
Oh yeah. People are going to be missing those weak Apex cards we had for the last 2 weeks before 314 versus having a week with nothing. Me, it's like the one Saturday I'm not going to be in the country this year, so pretty psyched. We're not going to have a fight card this Saturday. And shout out Sniff. Yo, does that Captain America shield come back to you when you throw it? Yes, but only when I throw it. If you throw it, it's like diddling somebody else's wife. It just doesn't go so well for you. No, I had to make a bad joke. It's been too long in the show. We're at 9 minutes and I hadn't made one terrible joke yet. Lane, Cross and Olin. It's a different show today, baby. Happy to see you in the chat.
Lane?
Let us know what you thought of these fights on 314. There were some bangers in the building. So speaking of bangers in the building, the next fight went exactly as I thought it was going to go. It was a middleweight showing for Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. And my goodness, Tresean Gore looked like he was one man against Tulio in there. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy was putting it on him like there were multiple dudes in that cage. It was bad news bears for Tresean. There's actually no way to make this sound good for him. He landed 17 strikes and absorbed 140. I'm not making those numbers up. Like, if you tuned in last week to the show, I believe, Cross, you said very similar vein on your breakdown show. Like, Tulio is the sharper striker. He's accurate. He's quick. He makes reads a lot faster than Tresean. And if Tresean isn't able to go out there and just bully him onto the ground early on, it's going to be a tough night. Well, folks, it was a tough night for Tresean Gore. And not only did he not get his opponent to the ground, he didn't even try. There wasn't one attempted takedown registered from Tresean Gore because he was too busy on his back foot the entire time of this fight. He was constantly trying to defend strikes after strikes after strikes. And I mean, Marco bullied him. I don't think there's a better way to sum it up. Like, this was the most evident bullying of a fight on this entire card. Tresean Gore, what happens next for him, Cross? Like, he's 6-3, right? He's got a 500 record right now. Mm-hmm. And that's not what the UFC does, if we're calling a spade a spade. No disrespect. Thought he was a fun personality on The Ultimate Fighter. Thought he was a good kid, but it might be time for him to go back and kind of rinse, wash, and repeat in the regional scene, grow a little bit, level up a little bit. Maybe once you've got like 15 fights under your belt, either go back to the Contender Series or take a short notice step up in competition against another UFC vet and give yourself a chance to prove yourself. But at the rate he's going right now, Tresean Gore is leaving a lot to be desired, in my opinion, as an MMA fan. Whereas on the other side, let's talk about the winner for a sec before I pass it over. Marco Tulio. I mean, this guy is the truth, bro. Like, he was relentless with his pressure. The way that he was putting it on his opponent was just, it was like supernatural out there, bro. Yeah, I mean, 3 minutes and 16 seconds into round number 2, he goes out there and gets the TKO finish. I thought this was by far the best coming out party on the card, aside from one other performance, and I know you know what I'm talking about. We'll get into it in the main card. Dude, we're such a hive mind. It's so funny to me.
Yep, know exactly what you're talking about. That was literally one of my key takeaways from this card, bro. Yeah. Was exactly what it was. Yeah.
Go ahead, take it over.
But bro, for Tulio, man, that striking, you already can tell, like, he's very early in his career. That striking is already elite.
His striking is top notch. No matter how old he is in his career, his striking is like Prates and Mauricio Rufy, where it, like the tenure of experience, the level of competition, the age in which he's fighting at, it doesn't match the fight IQ in which he brings to the octagon.
And then on top of it, just the variety of the strikes, man. This guy throws everything. 1-2s, teeps to the body, spinning kicks, body shot. Like, this guy has the full package. And honestly, Tresean Gore had no idea what was coming at him the entire fight. And then on top of it, his output at middleweight was crazy high, bro. Like, the first round was phenomenal. Like literally, if you want to pick a new fight to show somebody to introduce them to the UFC, show them the first round of this fight, bro. Phenomenal. But yeah, man, Marco Tulio, I know he made a lot of fans at UFC 314. Like, I know his star is definitely shining a little brighter right now. He looked phenomenal. And then dealt with a little bit of adversity in the first round. You know, Gore would throw back, land some good shots here and there, and Tulio just would not go away and just kept doing his little thing, landing his shots, and the guy got some skills for sure.
What's funny is, like, you and me, we agree on like 98% of everything we say. What's funny is the second round is what really, really stood out to me. Because the first round, yeah, he put it on. I'm like, this is a great first round to show your friends that haven't watched MMA. The second round was literally like just watching a rose wilt, bro.
It's beat down, bro.
Because, like, at least in the first round, like, Tresean was putting stuff up, like he was throwing things. But Tulio, bro, like 50-4. That's not the number of strikes. That's the number of significant strikes in just round 2. Bro. What?
Bro, Tresean Gore
landed at a 20-1 clip. Can you think of another fight where we've ever seen that on significant strikes? And that's in half a round.
I mean, unless we're talking about that Sean Brady Leon Edwards fight.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. Man, we actually talked about that yesterday, me and my buddy, because he's in the fantasy competition with me, and one of our other people in the competition got Leon. And he's like, how did Leon get so little points? And I was like, that was the fight against Sean Brady. And he instantly responded with, That's how that was so little points. That makes sense. You got nothing in that fight, bro. No offense off, no nothing. Shout out Dixon Sider in the chat. Marco Tulio, number 1 on your TV screens and number 1 in Norma Dumont's heart. My goodness, man.
It's a great place to be right there.
I'm jumbling my words and mixing stuff up here. Partially because of the THC pill that I took a little while ago that might be hitting now. And partially because, I mean, the only thing that was more impressive to me than that Marco Tulio win was the fact that I found out he was hooking up with Norma Dumont right after. My goodness, the man is like, this whole week we've been saying on Saturday, Marco Tulio is going to walk away with a win. Turns out he's been walking away with a win for a very long time, folks.
Facts.
You didn't know, now you know. Now, with that being said, Cross, I asked you first last time, so I'll take the lead on this one. I do have a name on the tip of my tongue for Marco Tulio, and tell me if maybe I'm a little bit off on this one, right? I think maybe, and I admittedly may be biting off more than I can chew, or rather more than Marco Tulio can chew here. Why don't we build him off of kind of a veteran name that never says no? Why don't we give him a GM3?
I like it.
What were you thinking?
I'm thinking the winner of Bruno Silva, Marc-Andre Barrio. The winner.
Power bar. That's a fun one.
Yeah. Either guy. You know, we get him a vet, somebody with some experience. I mean, personally, I think he puts it on GM3 or the winner of the 2 guys in my fights as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that either. I'm definitely not mad at that. Big Onk is saying Gore versus Dumas. I'm not mad at that. I just feel like, I mean, Gore versus Dumas is actually a good fight. Yeah. Both men having a bit of a tough run.
I would probably take Trayshawn in that matchup.
I would too. I think stylistically, that's a very, very beneficial matchup for him.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Cedric's struggle with people that are forward pressure heavy and people that are physically more imposing than him. And Trayshawn checks both those boxes. So, yeah, I don't think that'd be a fun matchup for him. Andrew, not shit fight. Yeah. That would be on the early prelims of a Apex card, folks. Yeah. Man. So, yeah, with that being said, I agree with you. I do think that he would probably piece up any of the choices we listed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I still think they're logical choices. DJ Serenity now with the shade. He said, Dumas struggles against men in general. Of course, referring to the fact that he has more mugshots for hitting women than he does fight appearances in the UFC or in professional fights in general. That's a real stat, folks. You can look it up. I didn't make that one up. Yeah. With that being said, we'll move into a little bit funner conversation here because it took place in the flyweight division with a man named Sue Mudarji coming in against Mitch Raposo. He said he's Mitch Raposo. You already know, though. He only went for takedowns. That's a problem for Shoto. Bro, this was a tough fight. He was just spamming the takedowns with Mitch Raposo. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because he's a striker. Didn't make a ton of sense to me. He's more, I mean, from what I've seen, he's more slick on the feet, at least when he was in tough, right? Like he looked like a flashy, like I'm going to get in there and throw these little like quick hooks to uppercuts that don't make sense, but they land. Yeah, Mitch just had a really tough showing here against a Sue Mudarji that he realistically at Dog God should have been able to take out. I love Matt Schnell. I've got an autographed card from him right behind me on this side. But like Matt Schnell got dropped, what, like 6 times? Yeah. Sue Mudarji in that fight. Like if it was a boxing match, it would have been stopped multiple times. Mm-hmm. That is not something you ever say about a mixed martial arts fight compared to a boxing fight. Usually it's like, well, if this was MMA, he got dropped. It would have been over. This is the only flip side of that one. And Sue Mudarji ended up getting submitted by that guy after he dropped him like 6-7 times. Mitch just, it was funny because he was doing so much, but not doing anything at all. Spamming the takedowns, but not actually throwing any opposition once he was on top. 6 takedowns out of 19 landed. And this is the funnest fact of the entire fight card, folks. 6 takedowns, 19 attempted takedowns, 13 total strikes landed. Ooh. And 0 submission attempts. So you landed less total strikes than you attempted takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't even try to submit your opponent, which would have made up for the lack of striking. That's tough. I really feel like they gave Mitch a chance here as someone who wasn't signed to the UFC. And for lack of better words, he shit the money bet here. But great showing for Sumudaerji. Did everything he needed to do, but man, just was not the funnest fight on the card by any stretch of imagination. Krause, did anything surprise you about this fight?
I'm gonna be honest, no. I went with Sumudaerji going in. I just thought the reach advantage, and Sumudaerji at flyweight, he fights very long, like uses the jab, 1-2s, a lot of straight shots. One thing I was impressed with though is his takedown defense has gotten so much better. I was definitely worried about that going into the fight. And I mean, he just made it so tough for Mitch Raposo to get him to the ground. And then every time he got him to the ground, scramble right back to his feet, fighting the grip. And I mean, he just was getting the underhook, just making it so tough for Mitch Raposo. And I mean, when you think about the reason why he shot 19 takedowns, because he was getting pieced up on the feet. The jab was just in his face. And, it's a good win for Sumudaerji.
Nice little reach difference there that he had to face too, did Mitch Raposo. That reach, I think, was a really, really big problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that speaks to the jab landing every time Sumudaerji threw it.
Do you have a guy for Sumudaerji next?
When it comes to Sumudaerji, I'd like to fight him. I'd like to see him fight a little bit less of a baby face of a name, more of a name that we know. I'd like to see him fight a Tim Elliott.
Okay.
What about you?
Man, I kind of want to see a little Far East rivalry action, and I'm thinking we go with Ray Saruya, little Chinese Japanese action.
I mean,
Saruya's coming off a loss. He needs to get back in the win column. Sumudaerji's trying to get some momentum.
I understand.
I'm with you, man. I gotta say, wrong fighter from Japan, but same emotion.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it, bro. Yeah, I like. Oh man, dude, that's an interesting fight. Ray Saruya needs that bounce back.
Yeah, and I think Saruya saw in his last fight that he can't just spam takedowns in the UFC. Like, you got to develop some stand up. And I do like that matchup, Anakin. Kevin Borjas and Sumudaerji. I think, that'll be a striker's delight right there.
Kevin Borjas, that's a nice.
Borjas looked really good in his last fight against Lazy Boy. Maybe you can do Lazy Boy Sumudaerji.
Ronaldo Rodriguez?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good shout.
Because Borjas looked like a world beater in the Lazy Boy.
I like the Ronaldo Rodriguez pick better than my pick or your pick, if I'm being honest. Because like my pick, I think, would be a good fight, but a boring fight, if I'm being honest. Your fight, I like Ray Saruya a lot, and I think he has world beater talent inside of him. But if you put him against a Sumudaerji right after that last fight, I don't know what the reach is off the top of my head, but I think Sue's probably got 2.5 inches on him.
Yeah, probably.
That's a long boy.
It wouldn't surprise
That's
me,
a long son of a bitch, bro. Did you see him against Mitch? Like, Mitch is short.
Yeah.
But Sue is long, bro. He looks like a different
Sumudaerji's,
class.
I think Sumudaerji has a couple fights at bantamweight, I think.
Dude. Sumudaerji reach. Yeah, he's got 72 inch. And Ray Saruya. Oh, fuck. No, I don't like that fight at all for Ray.
What's the difference?
4 inches?
Yeah.
Brother, he's gonna get lit up by a jab.
Mm-hmm.
The same way Josh Mann was lighting him up with a jab when he was coming in on entries. You're giving this guy 4 inches to clip him with uppercuts when he's shooting in? Hell no, I don't like that fight.
Yeah, I think the Borjas
Sumudaerji
fight would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah. I'd be happy with the Kevin Borjas fight, or I think the one you said, the Ronaldo Rodriguez fight, I think would be fireworks. And Sue would be silly enough to stand up with Ronaldo Rodriguez and just let it be a striker's game. And I don't know where the pendulum swings on that one. I don't know which way I'd bet. But as of right now, gun to my head, I'd probably lean Lazy Boy on that one.
Okay.
Lord of Pies, shout out in the chat, said, whose stock rose the most during the 314 card and whose stock dropped the most? That's a great question, man. I mean,
I got some ideas.
I definitely have some ideas. I mean, off the top of my head, I would say whose stock rose the most. I'm actually going to be lame and just give you the same fight for both answers. I'm going to say Michael Chandler's dropped the most and Patty Pimblett's rose the most. On one side, you have a career builder, and on the other side, you have a career ender. One-way traffic for an older guy against a younger guy that's up and coming. Both are really good talkers, but one actually was able to go out and do the walk versus just the talk. Yeah, I think that's a true career builder versus a career ender.
I got you. I would say the lost the most was Chandler, and I like the shout of Lane in the chat with Tulio. Like, that guy opened a lot of eyes on Saturday. A lot of eyes. Patty already had the people that really believed in him and the people that were just like, nah. And I think now a lot of the no people are starting to get on board with him. But yeah, Marco Tulio, like, I think very early on in the card, like the people that watched the whole card was like, yeah, this guy's good.
100%. Big up to you, Wolfang Division. And yeah, I mean, Tulio's stock definitely rose. John Silva's a good shout too. John Silva definitely saw his stock rise. That's another one you could answer both questions with. Bryce Mitchell's stock dropping.
Reyes is another one.
Dominic Reyes is a really good one, bro. I can't wait to talk about that fight because that was one of my dogs this week, and I actually had a lot of faith in that pick.
Yeah.
And again, like Nikita Krylov, he's not a slouch. Kyokushin karate, master of sport, like dude's a son of a bitch in there. But he wasn't on Saturday night when it came to our boy. So with that being said, folks, let's go ahead and jump into the next fight before we get completely derailed here. We had a bout between Mikhail Oleksiejczyk and Cedric Dumas, a.k.a. SD, the Reaper Dumas. I am going to pass it to you in this one. It was pretty one-way traffic. So tell us the traffic report, bro.
Yeah, like going into this, I went with Oleksiejczyk as well. I just thought the striking and the power would be too much for Dumas. He's just not one of those guys that comes out and goes forward. And you just could tell as soon as the fight started, he was behind the black line, up against the side of the octagon, and Oleksiejczyk just right in his face, ready to land that left straight, and clipped him, little ground and pound, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, it was a nice one, man. And great breakdown. Like, it's right. SD doesn't move forward with a lot of pressure, and he also wilts when he starts eating shots. Someone in the chat said it earlier, like he struggles against men, and it's a fact. Mikhail is a man. When I was at Islam versus Poirier fight card, Mikhail dropped Kevin Holland. And that is one of the most jarring moments I've seen in a live fight because it literally like shook my feet. He dropped him so hard. And then, of course, Kevin Holland did Kevin Holland thing, somehow came back and found a way. But Mikhail is just a beast, bro.
Yeah.
The way that he punches people, the way that he hits is hard. And he's got crispy boxing. If he needs to get dominant and push you up against the cage and start clinching with you, he's very big brothery in that manner too. And this was just a complete showing of dominance. 34 total strikes landed to 3. And a 57.6% clip of accuracy compared to 11.5. I mean, come on. It was, again, just one-way traffic. It was very, very similar to the fight we talked about just a couple fights ago in Marco Tulio versus Tresean Gore, just at a lower clip, right? And I think that if this fight would have gone on another 5 minutes, just looking at it statistically, probably would have had very similar numbers to what we saw in that Tulio fight. Lucky for Cedric Dumas, he went out quicker, and the ref came in and stopped it. And, I mean, I'll ask you this real quick before we move on from this one. Do you think that there's any reason for SD to be complaining about that stoppage? Because I thought it was an okay stoppage. He was eating shots.
I don't think there's any reason to have an issue with that stoppage, especially with a stoppage we saw later in the card. I mean, the guy wasn't doing anything. He literally was just covering up, wasn't trying to move. Because if we go back to the Tresean Gore fight, Tresean Gore was eating a lot of shots, but he was still moving. He was still trying to fight back, get up. And that's why he kept getting chances. Whereas in this fight, as soon as Dumas got down, it literally was just cover up. Don't hit me anymore. I don't want to be here anymore.
Facts, man. Question is, do you have a name on the tip of your tongue for Mikhail Oleksiejczuk here?
I do, and I think it's a banger too. Bruno Ferreira. I think it's a banger, though. Banger.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I had written down Andre Muniz, but I think I actually like your pick better. Yeah.
Two strikers, both guys with power. Somebody's going to sleep.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And great shout from Lord of Pies. Now the Fighting Nerds are multiplying. They added Polish power to the roster.
Some grapplers need to start going down there and training with those. I think that's going to be the next thing. You're going to see like some big time grapplers starting to go down there to improve their striking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you get like a crossover, pun intended, between like an AKA and a Fighting Nerds, good luck, bro. Like whatever division those guys are fighting in, that's their division. Oh man. Yeah, Bruno is a savage DJ Serenity now. I definitely agree. And apparently, we decided to go live the same time as Sterling. Sterling, I thought, was going live yesterday. Isn't that what he texted us? I never saw it pop up, though. So I guess he pushed it back. All right. I'm getting dizzy. Y'all have live the same time as Sterling for something.
He's going back and forth.
Andrew Nance said, stop drinking, Lane. To which I say, Lane, if you're down, pour a shot, drink more. I'll do one with you. And with that being said, we move on into one of my favorite fights. It was a featherweight bout, starting off the preliminary card between Darren, the damaged Elkins, against Juicy J, Julian Erosa. My goodness. Oh, Juicy J is a real son of a gun. He's one of these guys that I tend to always bet on because in my experience, it usually pays off. And when I saw that he was coming in against someone who is as hittable as Darren Elkins, and I say this lovingly and respectfully, I love Darren Elkins. I love this guy. I think he's got a ton of heart, but you can't win fights on heart alone, unfortunately. And everything else is slowing down, right? So it is tough to see him continue at this point in his career. He ate a lot of unnecessary damage in this fight. And I know his nickname is Damage, and you got to let him continue, but geez Louise, they could have stopped this fight quite a few strikes before they did. But good on Juicy J. He looked untouchable. He looked untouchable, right? He was just smooth out there like butter. I mean, there's not a better way to describe it, in my opinion. He just was slipping shots, ripping shots, and making it look like Darren Elkins didn't belong in the same cage as him. Mm-hmm. I think it's lo and behold time for Juicy J to get a ranked opponent and to put some respect on his name. Yeah, I mean, not really a whole lot surprised me about this fight. So I'm curious, did anything stand out to you? Did anything play out differently on screen than it did on paper for you or in your brain?
Nah, nothing really surprised me at all, man. Darren Elkins, the guy's been in war after war after wars, over 40. I think as I've seen in the chat a little bit, like I think a lot of people feel as though it might be time for him to hang it up. Just because, I mean, I think the first shot he even took in the fight, I think like wobbled him a little bit. And man, was taking so much damage and, you know, pun intended, but shout out to Juicy J, man, got it done. I mean, I don't even think Juicy J really had to do much in the fight that really could have been impressive. I just think Elkins is there to be hit, whomever you are. And he just kept hitting them. And then we went for that single leg, just kept hitting them. It's the end of the fight. So I don't think we really got to see anything new from Erosa, but I would like to see him get a ranked fight next show.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to see him fight somebody that's legitimately ranked in the featherweight division. And look, I mean, there's a number of really good options that I think make a ton of sense for him. A Giga Chikadze, a Bryce Mitchell coming off of that kind of loss that he recently came off of on Saturday. Even a Calvin Kattar or Youssef Zalal. But God forbid the UFC doesn't agree with us and the matchmakers don't want to give him anybody ranked. I'll even go so far as to say that I think a fight that would be a lot of fun would be a fight between him and Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres.
Okay.
If it's not a ranked opponent.
Mm-hmm. So later on, I got a name for Bryce Mitchell, but for Julian Erosa, I like the Calvin Kattar shout. Because I mean, Calvin Kattar, I think he's like 1-4 in his last 5, maybe, or 1-5 in his last 6, something like that. And number 15 in the rankings, he's definitely got to fight down. And I think, that matchup would be good.
And I know. That's why I'm saying if they're not going to give him someone ranked, I would love to see that happen at an actual arena. Because Apex fights definitely play out different than the ones in front of the fans. I feel like Juicy J is one of these guys that when he fights in front of a crowd, he performs tenfold better. And Bruce Leroy he's a traditional martial artist, bro. He can fight you in his backyard, his front yard, the Apex, or a sold out arena, and he's gonna fight like Bruce Leroy fights. He's literally like a veteran of this sport. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see that rematch.
Way younger than he is too,
brother. Every time I see his age on paper, I'm like, no, this is a misprint.
Yeah,
this is wrong. He looks so young. Like if you hadn't been watching the UFC for the last 10 years, you would think he was a new sign. But he's not. Speaking of young versus old. Speaking of new versus old. Juicy J versus Dan Ige, I'm not mad at. I had thought about saying Dan Ige, but I doubt Dan Ige would take a fight down after getting a win, even if he didn't deserve the win. I don't think Dan Ige would take that fight. I wouldn't if I'm Ige.
Yeah, why? I mean, you already fought an unranked, dangerous guy, and you figured out you got to win. Oh no, I'm fighting up. And you got to think about the UFC already owes him. He already saved him at the Sphere. They're not going to make him fight down.
No chance. He's a company man. Company takes care of the company man. That's typically how it goes. I think that's how it's going to go in this one. I'll tell you one that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Jim Miller versus Chase the Dream Hooper. We've seen Chase get hit. We've seen him throw his chin up in the air. Another person that fought Bruce Leroy Caceres, right? Someone who's fought everyone. But I just thought Jim Miller was going to put it on him, man. The old man has looked really good in his last handful of fights, and he has fought a who's who, a litany of the best of the best, right? Your Dustin Poiriers of the world. And he's withstood the test of time. He looked like a shadow of his former self in that octagon on Saturday against Chase Hooper. This was definitely the slowest and most his age I've ever seen Jim Miller look inside of the octagon. I thought he was going to be able to go out there and get Chase because Chase's biggest path to victory is slick submissions. Mm-hmm. I thought Jim Miller had much slicker submission game, slicker grappling in general, and much better defensive grappling to get away from it. But man, when you shoot 14 takedowns, I guess you're bound to get some of them. Mm-hmm. And if you're Chase Hooper, you're bound to get more than half, 8 of them to be exact. 8 takedowns, 59 total strikes, and 21 significant strikes. Jim Miller landed half that, 22 strikes and 13 significant strikes. He got 1 of 1 takedowns. The accuracy was accurate for him, but it was just too little, too late, too far and few between. He was not landing enough opposition for it to truly mean anything. And that's okay. It happens. That's the way the fight game goes. You got a 40-something-year-old going in against a 20-something-year-old, and them's the odds, that's why it was a plus 600 underdog, and that's why I sprinkled very little on him on the night. But it is what it is, folks. And with that, I've poured up a shot because I was wrong. And you know what we say here, a bet made, a debt paid. So if you're drinking, Lane, looking at you, raise one up, take a sip with me. If you're not, raise up the bong, raise up your glass of water, raise up, Kool-Aid, a fucking, what is it that Sterling drinks? Fucking,
I don't know what Sterling.
Capri Sun. That's what it is.
What is he, a child?
Bro, you've never seen him pull out the Capri Sun on stream?
No.
He's pulled it out on 3 separate streams with me. Capri Sun. Every time it cracks me up.
I missed it every time.
Every time it cracks me up, bro. Every time. I kid you not, I bought Capri Sun last time I was at Target just so I can pull one out next time I'm on a stream with that guy. It's hilarious. But here, we're drinking a man's drink. Drinking a little shot of bourbon. Cheers to you. Cheers to us. No more fuss. No more muss. What What were your thoughts on this this fight between a man and a young man?
So, I mean, going into it, I went with Chase Hooper. I just thought Jim Miller being 41 years old, Father Time's undefeated. And, you know, Chase Hooper's made some real growth in the UFC. I know he's like 25, but the guy has a lot of fights in the UFC. The striking has gotten a lot better. But when he gets you on the ground, man, he's just so long and so methodical on the ground. He gets you in a position where you can't really do much against him. And that's pretty much just what we saw. Like, the new age grappling was just superior to the old age of grappling. And I think, you know, like when you get these younger kids coming up, like they learn all of the old stuff as they're growing. And then like we're getting this new influx of new submissions, new things, and they're also learning that as well. And I think that gives them a slight edge over the older guys. That's a good shout right there, Andrew.
He was born in the cage, right? I mean, dude, literally, and that's a good shout too that you said, Cross. Like the way that kids are training nowadays is very different than the way that adults back in the day trained. And I said this to Nano last week to an extent. There's a difference in training traditional BJJ or traditional wrestling versus having no experience in either and then signing up for an MMA gym and your first grappling experience is MMA grappling. There's a vast difference between that. And then if you take that MMA grappling and then you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Iki, and then you do wrestling, like you're adding so many different facets and levels to your game of martial arts, and it's going to pay dividends in the long run, man. So yeah, Chase was born in the cage, and he's training in improved ways as a young man. So I think there's a lot of potential for this kid to just keep on going and keep on growing, as I like to say. But what I have to ask you is, do you have a name on the tip of your tongue for Chase Hooper?
I do. I don't think we should give him somebody ranked yet, but definitely a step up in competition. And the name on the tip of my tongue is Elvis Brenner.
Elvis Brenner's a solid shout out. That's solid. I'm not mad at that at all. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Brenner's coming off of a loss as well. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's coming off 2 losses. So I mean, you know, makes sense.
Oh yeah, coming off a TKO and a decision loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not mad at that. Definitely not mad at that. I had somebody else that's coming off a handful of losses. I would like to see him go in there against someone who does have that kind of wily chin, fun game, willing to go out there and throw shots and cautions to the wind. I'm looking at a Drew Dober.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Drew Dober be in trouble, man. Not fighting the black guy.
Fucking Jesus.
I couldn't resist, dog. I couldn't resist.
Oh, man. Drew Dober versus black men is about equivalent to Nicholas Dalby versus Brazilian men in Brazil. Like,
yep.
Bet on those guys because there's some heat coming. I don't know why, but there's some heat coming. Oh, man. Jim Miller versus Chandler. Oh, don't do that. Why'd you even put that out into the universe? I would watch that. Oh, Jesus. Sterling's new nickname, Capri Sun.
Capri Sun. That makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Matt Frivola versus Chase.
I think that's too much.
That's too much.
Now. Yeah.
I think Matt's too good. The wrestling is too good. And the striking would be the differentiator in that fight. Because Matt's got like bricks,
dynamite in his hands. Dynamite.
He's got bricks, bro. He's throwing cinder blocks instead of fists. Clubbing. Yeah. I honestly, any of the matches that we talked about, I'm happy with. I feel like Chase is one of these guys. I'll be honest, I don't like the Matt Frivola one. I don't think that would be a good night for Chase Hooper's development. That night for Chase Hooper's development would probably go about the same as the women's strawweight bout did for Yan Xiaonan's development against Virna Jandiroba Kakara. This is another one where I'm going to keep it short and sweet, Cross, in my breakdown. This went exactly according to plan. I knew Yan Xiaonan would probably come out and outlander on significant strikes, but I knew Virna Kakara Jandiroba was going to go out there and just have an onslaught of grappling and forward-facing pressure. And Jan does not do well on the back foot. We've seen it in fights before. This was never a fight where she was going to be able to lead and dictate the pace of the dance. And if you knew that going in, you knew who to bet on. It was Virna Jandiroba. Look, she's a beast. 96 total strikes to 64 of her opponents. And again, her opponent outlanded her on significant strikes. That tells you exactly what I just said, right? Like, one girl's going out there to throw hard strikes and hurt you. The other's going out there to be on top of you, dominate you, and make sure that no judge is going to give you the decision. And that's exactly what happened. I thought it was a very smart game plan from Vienna, albeit not the most exciting fight on the card with all these other fights that we were blessed with on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, I think you put this fight on an Apex fight night, and people were saying it was a pretty decent fight.
Mm-hmm.
On 314, bottom three. But it is what it is, right? That's how it shakes out. If this is one of the worst fights we get on a fight card, I'm fairly sure I'm going to be pleased with the rest of the fight card, though. So I'm good with it. As far as what's next for Jan,
we know what's next for her. We know what's next.
We know what's next for both of these ladies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you sum it up for us, Cross?
Man, so we got a new number one contender at strawweight, people. Virna Jandiroba has gone through everybody, gone through the gauntlet, and she's literally like the last frontier for Wei Li at this point. I wouldn't even be mad if like Wei Li got a chance to go up for double champ status, and then whatever happens, like come back and fight Virna. But even if they just make that fight, it makes complete sense. I think it'll be an interesting test for Wei Li, just because the BJJ of Virna is probably better than anybody she's faced. But man, Wei Li's so well rounded, and I would really look forward to that fight.
Yeah, man. I would love to see Zhang Weili against Virna Jandiroba. I think that would be a slobber knocker of a competition. And like Zhang Weili, let's face it, she's very John Jones-like in her approach to fighting, in my opinion. If she thinks that you're bringing danger to the cage, she's going to bring danger right back, right? She fights to the level of competition. I think me and you had this conversation a couple weeks ago about John Jones doing the same thing. It's why we saw that, like the OSP fight, one of the most boring John Jones fights you'll ever see in your entire life. He was fighting against OSP. He trained to fight against OSP. Like, make no mistake about it. That's why it was the fight it was. Then he fights Gustafsson. Only person he ever fought that had the same range as him or close. One of the best fights you'll ever witness in your entire life. And then when they rematched, he killed him. So I think if we see Zhang Weili versus Virna Jandiroba one time, it'll be an incredible fight. Probably 25 minutes of carnage, of chaos, of back and forth. And then if you see it again, win, lose, or draw on the first one, I think Zhang kills her.
Yeah.
And I'm not, it's no disrespect to Virna. I love Virna. I'm a super big fan of hers. But Zhang is literally like a T-9000. She's a Terminator, bro. Like, she downloads data in such a significant and different and unique way. Again, like John Jones. I hate John Jones. Something you've heard me say 1,000 fucking times by now after knowing me for less than a full year. I loathe the guy. I also trained at AK, so there's reasons for it. But I'm smart enough to admit that he's special. I don't like him, but his brain is special. I don't like him, but his skills are special. I don't like him. Everything he's done in the sport is special. Zhang Weili, I have the pleasure of saying I do like. She's just as special. She's very special, bro. So I love this fight for Virna. I love this fight even more for Zhang. And to be completely real, I love this fight even more for us as fans because I feel like we win no matter what, dude. For Jan, I mean, like, what's next for her, right? Like, she keeps having this situation where she gets up to the highest pedestal she can get to, and then she just falls up just a little bit short, right? Do you think it's time to maybe switch camps? Do you think it's like, what do you think the problem is with Yan Xiaonan?
I mean, you know, when a striker runs up against a grappler, an elite grappler, if they get taken down, they can definitely be in trouble. And that's literally what happened. But if you just go look at the Yan Xiaonan fight against Mackenzie Dern, Yan Xiaonan takedown defense on point, a lot of footwork, a lot of movement, and pretty much just cruised to a decision over another really good grappler. So I think it's just one of those things where Verna, she looks like she's very strong when she gets hold of girls. And I think the strength just was too much for Yan Xiaonan. But honestly, she probably needs to get back in there against another grappler, Tatiana Suarez.
That is a really strong shout, bro. I like that a lot. Tatiana Suarez versus Yan Xiaonan. That's actually the perfect fight for both women's trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Olin's hair looking like a piece of pumpernickel bread tonight. My guy. Thank you. I didn't feel like putting product in it, so I just, hit it with a little blow dryer action today, baby. Oh, man. Love that. Love that. He said I need some Outback, dude. That Outback bread hits every single time.
Yes, it
even
does.
If you take it home, like fun fact, ask them for a thing of bread to go when you're getting ready to pay your bill, and then you just pop it in the oven the next day. Chef's kiss, baby. Life hacks. Speaking of life hacks, Dan Ige found one on Saturday. Fucking guy. Because he was not winning that fight. There's no world in which he was winning that fight, and there's no world in which that fight should have been stopped. I'm so sorry to tell you, there's just no world in which that fight should have been stopped. I don't know if my guy Cross here is going to tell me that I'm wrong, because I can't see his fucking eyes. I don't know what kind of face he's even making under those glasses. But I hope you're in agreement with me right now. I can see you smiling, so I think
definitely. Bro,
you can't wear those if we ever play poker. I'm just telling you.
That stoppage was just. I wonder. I would love, like, when that ref talked to somebody, what was going through his mind in that moment and why he stopped the fight. Because I mean, if you go look at it, literally as he's coming in to stop the fight, Woodson's getting back to his feet, like literally standing up. And it just stops the fight. And I'm like, what is going on? And then you just hear it over the commentator. They're just all over the ref with the stoppage. But unfortunately, it's part of the game. I'm curious to see what they do with Sean Woodson next, like what fight they give him next. But Dan Ige, take it and run with it. Because that win will age very well.
Yeah. Definitely will. I mean, that's what you have to do, right? You got to run with it. But before we talk about like the terrible stoppage, right? Like we should talk about the actual fight. Like the fight was going well. It was a fun fight up until that happened, right?
Yeah.
Like coming into this one, you had a stylistic matchup. Ige, the hard-nosed brawler, clean boxing, big power in both hands. But he's going against the oddest shaped man in mixed martial arts, right?
Yep.
Lanky, slick striker, Muay Thai style, known for that high volume jab, crispy footwork, and again, the most awkward frame in the freaking division. But folks, it was clear. Dan Ige was not here to play the distance game. He was just systematically trying to close the gap and loading up on every single strike from start to finish of this fight. You could see it was not I'm going to land at volume. It's I'm going to land one shot or two shots, and those are going to take him down, hopefully. That's it. He was landing heavy leather, but it just was not doing anything to the opponent up until that final round. And even then, like it didn't really seem to have the effect that it should have had on a Sean Woodson. And we've seen this in history where someone's cutting a ton of weight, they're going down to a lower weight class, and as a result, it's chinny, right? Mm-hmm. That's just not the case with Sean Woodson. I do think like the name of my show that I chose is MMAnomaly, right? Mixed martial arts anomaly, something a little bit different than the norm. Sean Woodson is a fucking MMA anomaly.
He was created in a lab somewhere, bro.
I swear to you, bro. I swear to you. Like him, fucking the Cuban Missile Crisis, or not the Cuban Missile Crisis. Fucking what's his name? Yoel Romero. Yeah, you knew exactly what I was talking about. Like, bro, these guys were for sure made in labs. And Carlos Prates, you don't get to smoke fucking 20 cigarettes a day, drink a bottle of whiskey, and knock people out the way that he does, unless you are built in a lab.
Yeah. That's a good shout by Andrew. Woodson looks like Tayshaun Prince. That's a really good shout. Really good shout. Really good shout, bro. But yeah, man, like the first round, Woodson's
Wow.
just sticking that jab in Ige's face, dancing around, and Ige just cannot get inside. You just can tell he has no chance to get inside. Then the second round starts. Ige's a little more forward on the pressure, but Woodson's still just keeping him at range. You can't really get to him. He's landing a little bit, but in the third round, he just landed that massive left overhand. And it definitely hurt Woodson bad. Like he was just trying to survive. He was trying to hang on. And it looked like he was surviving, and then obviously the ref stops the fight. It just put a downer on the fight for real.
It really took the wind out of the sails in that fight card, right? And I mean, the way that the ref came in and stopped it was just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Sean Woodson protest, instantaneously stand up and protest it. I don't know if you saw this, but the ref did one of these. Brother, I'd have slapped that fucking ref. I'd have gotten fired from the UFC, bro. Are you kidding me? Bro, what these refs don't like, maybe he's new because I don't recognize that guy's face. I think what he failed to realize is he just cost the dude a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm coming in, I don't care if I'm on an 8K to like 8-8, a fucking 10-10, a 20-20, a 25-25. That's half of my paycheck. And I earned it across the first 10 minutes of 15 that I needed to do that. And you just stole money out of my pocket. That's a crispy slap to the mouth, bro. Especially if you hit me with one of these guys. What was that?
Yeah, that was rough.
What percent chance did Woodson have of winning? He was down 2 rounds. Woodson was up 2 rounds. What are you talking about?
Woodson was up, bro.
Brother, Woodson won rounds 1 and 2. Like handily. I don't know if you're trolling or if you're being serious right now. I feel like you got to be messing with me right now, though.
Let's see.
I'm literally pulling up the round by round stats here.
Same. I'm looking.
Round 1 was 26-9 on significant strikes. Round 2 was 18-15. And if you look at total strikes, it's even worse, 26-9 and 24-17. The only round that Dan Ige won was round 3. Yeah, Charlie. On judges' scorecards, brother.
Let's see.
Wait, Woodson was down on all the judges' scorecards? Are you serious?
What?
What?
Oh wow, that would have been interesting.
That would have been even worse.
Yeah, that would have been even bad. Wow,
what?
That's crazy,
Folks, I should preface and say, like, for those of you that just joined in, it was my birthday on Saturday, so I was intoxicated.
Hey, no,
see that on the screen.
You are right, bro. We just went and looked, and yes, Ige was up 2. How?
Yeah, Charlie, you're right. That's wild to me, though.
Wow.
I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
Can somebody make that make sense? Because
like, do you guys in the chat think that was 2-0 Ige? Like, please, for real. Like, we can't be the only ones that are like that.
And if you are in the chat and you did think it was Ige, I'm going to need you to make a channel and just start a video right after we wrap up so I can hear you explain this to me at ad nauseum because I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't understand, bro. I'm literally looking at all the stats. Like, there's 1 second of control time for Dan Ige in round 1. That's the only thing he had over Sean Woodson. It was 1 second. And then in round 2, there was 32 seconds versus 10 seconds, but you only go to control time when you can't dictate who was winning the striking game or the damage game. And Sean Woodson won that in both. In overall volume and I don't understand.
Bro, round 1 was 26 significant strikes landed to 9.
To 9.
Wow.
I don't understand. Like, how do you give that to the other guy?
Wow.
In whose world?
Wow. Yeah, that would have been a bad robbery. Bad robbery. So actually, now that I think about it, that stoppage is better than the robbery that would have happened.
My brother in Christ. That was. I had already told myself I was going to do a shot for this fight because of how bad the fucking judges were. But I mean, I was talking about the ref, but what the fuck? What?
Yeah, that would have put a weird feeling on the night. So even worse feeling. It already put a.
I was going to say the ref situation was bad, but that would have been terrible, bro.
Yeah.
What? I'm genuinely like fucking flabbergasted right now.
I'm be honest. If I hadn't have looked it up, I never in a million years would have thought that.
No. If people didn't tell us in the chat, I thought Charlie I literally thought you were fucking with me, Charlie.
For real. Same.
I thought you were being funny tonight, bro. What happened? Yeah, I'm genuinely like, I'm sorry. This is one of, I think, 3 times in my entire life where I'm lightweight speechless. I usually always have something to say.
Who you got for Ige?
For Ige, I'd like to see him fight like a Sadiq Youssef, especially with the run that Youssef's been putting together. I think that'd be a fun fight. Have they fought yet before?
I don't know.
I don't believe.
I don't think so. I got a name for Ige.
Who you got?
And it would be an absolute banger. Throw him in there with Josh Emmett.
Ooh.
Somebody's going to sleep.
Josh Emmett's a good shot. And Josh Emmett, yeah, that's actually a really good one, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good one, bro. And sorry, I said Sadiq Youssef. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say Youssef Zalal.
Yeah, I figured that's what you meant.
I love that you know what I'm talking about, even if I say the wrong fucking name. That's hella funny.
I mean, I was like, that makes sense because I know
I said the right things, but the wrong name. I was like, the run he's putting on, especially because Youssef's been putting on a hell of a run. He's also ranked 1 away from Josh Emmett. So like, we were in the same zip code. We just landed in the different city.
Carlos, what's going on, brother? Good to see you in here.
Carlos, welcome to the chat, my friend. Always love seeing you here, and hope you're having a fantastic Monday evening, my friend. Let us know what your favorite fight of the night was, and who you think should be next for the man, Dan Ige. Dan the man, Mr. 50.
DJ Serenity says he think Emmett would murk Ige. Emmett's 40, bro. Emmett's 40.
But you know what they say? If you've ever watched the Rocky movies, the last thing that goes, the power. You know?
True. True.
And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. That's what most boxers will tell you in real life too, right? Yeah, I like the Emmett fight. I think the Emmett fight would literally be 2 guys loading up for 15 to 25 minutes. And I think the Youssef one would be just a lot of footwork, a lot more in and out dashing. But
I think Zalal would just grapple Ige and then look to submit him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, path of least resistance. Like, because if you stay on the feet with Ige, like there's always that puncher
Bad
chance.
news bears. Yeah,
It is bad news bears. Phenomenal fight with Cub Swanson. That would be phenomenal as well. Even though I don't think Ige would take that fight, that would be a fun fight.
Yeah, that would be a really fun fight. What's the first thing to go? Coordination, speed, fight IQ, speed. Speed is statistically the first thing that you lose as you age up in combat sports, or physicality in general. Typically, you lose speed. Fight IQ is actually what continues to go up. Yep. So that's why they say fight prime is typically between age 32 and 35, because at age 32, your brain starts to catch up to your body, and your body starts to kind of slow down after age 35, right? So there's that window of about 3 to 4 years. They say some people hit it a little bit earlier, some people last in it a little bit longer. So, you know, if you're a fucking Yoel Romero, maybe fight prime is like 35 to 45, right? You laugh, but it's also true. So
right. That's another dude created in a lab.
Facts, bro. But yeah, like the IQ is typically the longest thing. Coordination is right there with fight IQ. I feel like speed goes first, and then realistically it's cardio after that, and then your coordination probably shortly after the cardio starts to go out the window. Then you start to lose your power. Fight IQ, I don't think they actually even put as part of the equation because it's mental, right? But yeah. Yeah, bro. Learned that from Cars 3. Carlos. That's funny as fuck. First thing that goes to speed, man. Oh, that's funny as hell. Nathaniel Wood versus Dan Ige would be a fun scrap. You're not wrong,
fun.
Lazy Bed.
That is fun, Lazy. That's a lot of fun, actually.
Lazy Bed needs to change that name to Hard Working Bed because, brother, I feel like you're never taking a day off missing a beat on these things. Love that. And with that being said, I've got a shot poured and we have a main card to jump into, folks. I was going to do the shot for that last fight, but instead I'll do it as a celebratory one for this win. In the light heavyweight division between Nikita Krylov and Dominic Reyes. This man is back, folks. He is back in the win column in a big way. He was already back in the win column before then, but now I think he's starting to show us that we must have forgot, right? This is the guy that, if you ask me, he beat John Jones 3 out of 5 rounds. And I know it's debatable, and that's fine. We'll save that for another episode, for another time. But either way, if you appreciated seeing this young man get back into the good graces of the wins, let us know. Do a shot with us, folks. We appreciate each and every one of you. There's 25 of you right now live watching us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. Keep on going, keep on growing. Cheers. And in the meantime, Cross, what stood out to you the most about this fucking resurgence of Dominic Reyes?
So going into this, man, I was fully aboard with Dominic Reyes going into this fight. I wish I'd have took him as my dog of the week because I felt very good about him. You know, Krylov was coming off like a 2-year layoff, hadn't really been in there, very aggressive, very wild, frantic pace. And we literally just saw like a repeat of the Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo pullback counter, left straight, knockout. Like it was literally picturesque, the exact same. I actually put it up in my recap video. I put them side by side one another. And it just was a beautiful KO. And to be fair, I couldn't be any happier for Dominic Reyes. It was definitely a feel-good moment to see him get that win.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a feel-good win, right? Like that's these types of wins, these types of moments, these are like why we love the sport. These are why we get into it so much as we do. And this was great. This is a really, really fun one to watch. If you've watched Conor McGregor knock out Jose Aldo, it was the exact same motion all the way down to the last few hammer fist punches there. Just fantastic. DJ Serenity now. Yeah, I didn't predict a McGregor style step back from Dom. Yeah, nobody did. Yeah. We don't see light heavyweights do that. We don't see light heavyweights do that. And Andrew Nance hitting the bong. We appreciate you, brother. Hit them rips. I'm actually taking the day off because I fly to Japan tomorrow where that is a felony. And, would rather get used to not having it in my life. So do an extra one for me, Knots. Looking at you, brother. DJ Serenity now. We live in a society. Yeah, we do. We do live in a society. We live in a world where Dom Reyes is one win from a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, we do, Lazy Bed. You ain't never lied, bro. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Dominic Reyes is definitely right there in that title contention shot, baby. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Nikita Krylov is no slouch. Like you said, there was a little bit of a layoff there for him, right? Inconsistency as well has plagued his career. 30-10. Not quite a 500 record, but we're getting there. Master of sport in Kyokushin karate. I know when you hear the name Krylov, you think, oh, he's going to grapple. But no, he's more of a striker. Karate guy. Karate kid. But he went out there, ironically enough. Again, you know me, I gotta crack the bad jokes. You had Nikita Krylov, the karate guy, coming in there against Dominic Reyes, who trains out of Cobra Kai. That's a kick-ass name for a dojo, if you've ever watched Cobra Kai, the show. I knew this guy was going to come out here and get the win. I was bullish on him all week, picked him in the dogs competition for a reason. What I couldn't have told you is two things, right? I'm going to pull up the comment again. Yes, GJ's already know. I couldn't have told you that it was going to be a McGregor-style step back from Tom. That was wild. I also couldn't have told you that this entire fight, Cross, was going to be less than 13 strikes landed. Yeah, couldn't have guessed that. It was a 12-strike fight in totality. It lasted 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Oh, and by the way, it's because it only took 8 freaking shots from the real dominator, Dominic Reyes, to get this done. Bro, it's all she wrote. It just goes to show you that it's not the best, the strongest, or the hardest hit that lands. It's the one you don't see coming. This man stepped forward, dropped a throw, got his hand batted away, and blasted down the center line.
Beautiful.
It's perfect. If you've ever sparred and you've walked onto a shot, again, they don't even knock you out most of the time, but they will knock you down like you've never been knocked down before. For me, I walked into a fucking stepping head kick. Literally threw a fencer's jab. My head went back. My feet kept going forward, and I was fine. I didn't get knocked out. I popped right back up, but I was like, holy shit. I really took it out of you. And that's what we saw happen to Nikita Krylov, man. He literally walked on to a shot and added a little extra oomph for his efforts. Look, for me, it's got to be a title contender shot for Dominic Reyes after this, and it's got to be against Yuri Prokaska.
Really? You want the rematch?
I do. Do you have another name?
I got two names. One
All right.
is Carlos Oberg.
Blackjack.
Two for me is Alexander Rakic.
The Rocket. Oh.
But I'm leaning the
I don't like the Rakic fight. I like the Oberg fight a lot.
I'm leaning the Oberg, yeah.
Yeah. Yuri versus Reyes scares me for Dom. DJ Serenity now, I agree with you, but let me remind you that Yuri admitted he was knocked out twice in that fight the first time they had it. He's admitted this in multiple interviews, that if the ref would have paid closer attention, the fight would have been stopped. That he was knocked out and then woken up by follow-up shots. So I like that fight for that reason. Also, having recently seen a live Yuri Prokaska fight, I can say that I could probably talk crossover into going to that fight live after that experience.
Absolutely. Who doesn't like to see Yuri Prokaska fight? What are we doing here?
The sound that shot made on John Mahal, bro, that was nasty.
Or
I
you
love
could
that
do the winner of Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree could do that as well. Because they fight next weekend, right? Or no, it got moved. That fight got moved, right?
Oh, that fight got moved. Yeah. I got pushed.
Yeah.
Can I throw like a kind of left wind pick out here? And I don't think it's gonna happen by any stroke of faith, but I think it'd be fun if it did. Alex Poatan Pereira versus Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes has been trying to fight John Jones for years. If he goes out there and starches Dominic Reyes, then he can call for John Jones again.
The issue with that, though, is they train together.
That's fair. Have you seen the way Alex spars? He beats people up like they owe him money that he likes.
Have you never seen that picture of them standing next to each other when I think at the time in the picture, Alex was still fighting at middleweight, bigger than Dominic Reyes.
And again, this might sound silly. I always liked sparring the bigger guys than me when I was training at AKA specifically, because I'm expected to lose to those guys. And 8 out of 10 times, I'm popping them because I'm faster than them.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel good, and it looks really cool to everybody that's watching. That would be a really fun fight for everybody that's watching, because you know Alex would tower over him, and Alex has the stronger strikes. I'm never going to argue with you on that. I won't. I just won't, because I'm not dumb. But I will die on this hill. I think Dom actually has the faster strikes.
I can see that. I think
the genuine, we're just deleting fight IQ. I'm just saying, you tell these guys to throw a 1-2 on a bag, and the point of time it takes for them to connect. Dominic Reyes has the faster pure speed, I think. And I'm here to see what happens between that power versus speed dichotomy.
Good point. But I definitely don't think we're going to see it, unfortunately, because I think the rematch is going to get made with Alex and Magomed for sure.
Lazy bed. Yes. This is what every time I sparred the dude that we called Harvard, who was like 6'4", 6'5", 260 pounds. Mind you, I was 165 pounds back then. I put on like 40. Every time I sparred him, win, lose, or draw, everybody just kind of walked up to me after class and they'd give me a little fist, like, respect, bro. It doesn't matter how you looked against him. You walked up to him during sparring on Saturday. Good for you.
It's like when DJ grappled the heavyweight guy in the BJJ.
Yeah. Or how about Gunnar Nelson grappling with the world's strongest man from Game of Thrones?
That's right. Yeah,
The
that
mountains.
guy is Icelandic. Yep.
And fun fact, I don't know if you know this about that story or if you've listened to any Gunnar Nelson interviews where he's talked about it ad nauseum, but he cracked 2 of his own ribs to get that submission over him.
Really?
That's why he was out for a while. Not this time, but the time before. He literally cracked his own ribs because the guy was so wide. And when he wrapped his legs around him, he could feel the pressure cracking.
And I'll throw in another little piece to that story. The Mound from Game of Thrones, I think he's like the smallest brother. Could be wrong on that, but I think he's like not even the biggest guy in his family.
Hafthor. TJ Serenity knows. Yeah, his like feat of strength to get into the Guinness Book of World Records to officially become the strongest man is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. He picks up like a fucking like a Norwegian timber. It's a literal tree, and he takes like 3 steps with it.
Sounds about right.
It's like
Have you seen him box?
bro, against 2 guys. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him box too, bro. He is massive, bro. Massive.
Bro, yeah, these guys are built different. That's for damn sure. Speaking of built different, Jean Lord Silva. Holy fucking smokes! Oh man, I've been liking leaving the glasses off for the live stream, but I just got a set of new frames. I may or may not have felt a little inspired when I was picking them out here. All I need is a little tape.
Yep. All you need is a tape.
Back.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what I look like on the streets, and people are like, wow, I could beat that nerd up. I don't know. I'm also a fighting nerd. Look, this fight against Bryce Mitchell, it had implications written all over it before the fight even started. But as soon as the fight actually did start, Cross, holy smokes, I made a joke. And I said, as soon like I think it was like 30 seconds into the fight, I looked at my boy Drew. We were sauced up. And I said, hey, wouldn't it be funny if he submitted him? And Drew slapped my arm and was like, no, dude. No, come on. But then he did. It was disgusting. The way he was systematically dismantling his opponent out there. Bryce Mitchell looked like a fish out of water. If Bryce Mitchell was a fish and Jean Silva was a man, Jean Silva decided to jump in the river and challenge the fish to a fucking swimming race. And he still beat him on Saturday. That's wild. He literally said, oh, I'm a striker. You're a grappler. What is it that you do well? Let me do it better than you. This is a real problem, bro. You said earlier in the show that, what's going to be a problem is when people start seeing fighting nerds and they're like, hey, I need to go over there as a grappler and work on my striking. I think John Silva might teach him a few things about grappling, brother. And I hate to disagree with you. Like, I saw at least 10 people saying that he was trying to jump a ghillie. Brother was hitting ninja chokes and Darce chokes. Like, those are not ghillies. They're so much harder. And they're so much prettier. And he just, come on. He went in there against the submission guy, Cross. And do you know how many submission attempts were there for the submission guy?
None.
Goose egg, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Goose egg. There were 3. And that's all it took for my boy, Jean Silva. And fun fact, Cross, I know you didn't enter this year. We're going to get your money next year. In the fantasy competition, I was lucky enough to get Jean Silva at featherweight.
Ooh.
And do you know? Whereas the most points anybody has gotten anybody else in the competition is 120. He has fought twice for me this season.
And is going to fight again.
He's gotten me over 200 points this season because he gets over 100 every time he's out there. So look, I know the people are begging for it in the crowd right now, in the chat right now. So all I have to say to you all before I pass it over to the boy Cross is, let's go. And don't worry, Cross, this isn't the one that's going to get you that DCMA. Looking at you, McDane.
But yeah, for this fight, Bryce Mitchell, bro. Gene Silva is a problem. I'm saying it right now, bro. He's already a top 5 guy at featherweight. Already, right now, top 5 guy. We already know what type of striking he has. We saw the takedown defense looked really good in the fight, and he's also a submission threat. Yo, this guy's a problem. I'm gonna tell you right now, a fight is too early, but that would just be very entertaining. Is Alexander Volkanovski, Gene Silva. I'm telling you, the fight would be very good right now.
I love you and hate you so much more than I ever have right now, because that's literally the name I have written down. And I thought for sure this was going to be a great point of just disagreement in the episode. But I digress.
I don't think you should get the fight, but man,
no, yeah, it doesn't make logical sense, but it makes logical sense.
Yes. Bro, this would be so much fun for 5 rounds on the feet, him and Volk. Bro, this would be phenomenal.
Bro, I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day. I'm here for it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can really do that makes sense. I mean, you gotta give him Volk, right? And if you don't give him Volk, like the only runner-up option I got, and like nobody that's actually subscribed is gonna like when I say this out loud. I know it. But I have to say it. If we don't get the announced Max Holloway fight against DP, Max Holloway, John Silva is a fucking banger, bro. That's a banger.
I like it.
Like, that's one of those fights where, like, again, as a fan of both guys, I don't want to see it. Because I know I have to watch one of, like, bro, come on, you got to watch one of the fucking dogs die, essentially, inside the cage in that fight. I don't love that. But, man, when I'm telling you that I would inject it into my fucking veins, brother, would I. That just feels like, as someone, like, we joke and say we love UFC because we love skilled violence. Like, that is a skilled violence special. And there's nothing there's, like, if you have that fight 25 times, if we did live in a simulation and you could simulate it 25 times, I can tell you exactly how many times that would be boring. And it is the same exact number of times Bryce Mitchell was able to attempt to submit his opponent. Fucking goose egg, bro. That is a banger of a fight. But yeah, I'd much rather see John Silva versus Volk. It's just simply not going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately. But a more realistic one that I think could happen, and I think would be a lot of fun. I don't know if he's healthy, but Gene Silva, Arnold Allen would be a lot of fun as well.
Okay, so I said that on the live. I want to see that fight, but I like Arnold Allen. I don't know how that goes for him coming off an injury.
It's a tough fight for both guys.
It's a tough fight for anybody if they're fully healthy.
Yeah.
You're saying you're coming off an injury? Like, that's don't love that. With added ring rust.
Okay. I'll take that off coming off the injury, and I'll give you
the only thing I don't like about it. Like, give him a buffer.
Yeah. So the other matchup I can see is not. I don't think it's as entertaining of a fight. Lerone Murphy.
Oh, the miracle! Yeah, sign me up. Yeah, sign me up for that one.
Like, they need to just put a rocket ship on Gene Silva, send him to the top already.
Yep, I think that might be the one to go. I'm happy with that. I am happy with that.
I appreciate you, DJ Serenity. I was with you.
One of the poor featherweights from this card could get matched with Lerone Murphy. My guy. He's laying it out so you can play it out, baby. Lerone claiming it's him versus Volk next on socials. I ain't buying it. Yeah, no one's
buying it either.
No one's buying it.
That's who's getting the next title fight. Movsar or Evloev.
Oh, if this was a stock market option, we'd say, hold, bro. Don't buy that shit. That's not the time. We buy that like 2 years from now at best. Speaking about buying things too early or too late, right? Take the glasses off for this one. Yair Rodriguez at featherweight has just been an MMA anomaly, right? The way that he throws, these kicks, the way that he leads the dance in typical fashion. He's also a bit inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was going to be one of those times. Patricio Pitbull knocked out Michael Chandler in 61 seconds, has had a lot of flashes in the pan of greatness, and I thought that this was going to be just another one of those, but I was wrong in this one. Crossover, tell me everything I wish you would have told me at least 4 days ago.
So going into that fight, like I went with Yair Rodriguez in this fight. I just thought the reach advantage was too much. And then on top of it, all the kicks from Yair Rodriguez, I just thought would give Pitbull fits, and it did. And, by the third round, that's when Pitbull was starting to get more aggressive, but it just was too late at that point. Like the water was already underneath the bridge at that point, and Yair already had the decision wrapped up. And I mean, Yair looked really good. And I think we already know who his next fight is. I think everybody knows who his next matchup is.
And who might that be?
Diego Lopez. What are we doing? We all know who that, bro. Yeah. Like we said it on the stream. Like if Yair won and Diego lost, that fight has to happen. Has to happen. And just like somebody in the chat, you can headline it in Guadalajara. Even though that's really far away, I would like to see it much sooner, but it makes a lot of sense.
Jair Diego in Guadalajara, co-main, and Pitbull versus Bryce. Ooh, that's a different one. I haven't even thought about that one, but I'm not mad at that. Pitbull versus Bryce is a hell of a shakeout. I like that. Ryan Rossellini. What a great last name. Rossellini's a hell of a cool last name. I'm going to sell my PC to bet it on Gary. Never been more confident in a pick.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, you don't actually want to do that.
Ryan, don't do it, brother. We're trying to tell you, do not do it.
You really don't want to do that, man. As Andrew Nance said, don't lose your PC, bro.
Facts.
You don't want to do that. It's not the move. Dude, Yair Rodriguez, the kicks. I wish he would have thrown more strikes with his hands, but the kicks were doing everything he needed them to do. So, man. Gary at -120 is a steal. Bro, do I need to put the fucking glasses back on, bro? What do you
need? Prates plus money all day, every day. Please.
Wait, hold on. Is he actually saying that we're getting Prates at plus money right now?
If Prates is plus money, bro.
Hold on. I'm literally looking it up on DraftKings right now because I'm gonna hammer my bookie. Hold on.
No way Ian Gary's the favorite in that fight. No way.
Why don't I see odds for that fight? Oh, here we go. That's weird as fuck. They have him to start the main card? That's so weird. Oh, they're pick 'em.
Really?
-112 to -108. There's a 4-point difference, and neither are positive points. Carlos is the technical favorite right now. Or no, sorry. Carlos is the technical underdog at -108.
Yeah, I'll definitely take.
So if you put $50 on Prates, you get 96.29 back. I kid you not. Like, I'm gonna make mistakes right now. I might put like 4 units on Prates.
You're ready to push the button right now. You're already ready.
If I didn't have to send it through a bookie, it would have already been placed 10 seconds ago, Cross. You guys are going to lose that money. No, bro, we're going to hedge that money. If you bet in Prates against Ryan Rossellini, I'll tell you what. We'll do a handshake bet. You send the handshake emoji, and your Venmo tag. And I'll bet you right now, I'll put 25 just against you on Prates. Send the handshake emoji and we're sealed, baby. Everyone in the chat, be God's witness. Let's go, Ryan. You and me, mano a mano.
What you gonna do, Ryan?
For the nerds of the world. Let's get it, kid. Oh, man. But this Yair Rodriguez fight, dude, the side kicks, I think, were the biggest tail of the tape here, or the biggest tail of the story. The side kicks, the push kicks, the oblique kicks. I mean, this is the distancing kicks, right? If we had to sum it up. There was no point in time in which Patricio Pitbull was able to get in. The closest thing that he was able to get in on was the third round. And I wish he would have been doing those things in the first 2 rounds. Because, man, like he possibly could have won the fight if he had fought like he did in the third round for the entirety of the fight, but we'll never know. Because Yair just ran away with it before then, and he needed to finish going into that final round. So, great game plan from Yair. Shit game plan from Patricio Pitbull. And I don't know how much of this was because of Patricio being new to the UFC, because he's very veteran-y, right? He's been here for a very long time. He's not new to this. Just like, you know, folks that are not new to this. Speaking of that, Brianna Frost is definitely not new to the MMA game, folks.
Brianna, what's going on?
Thank you for being in the chat.
As always.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. If you're not following her on Twitter/X, it is at Brianna Frost, and she has great MMA takes. And she usually posts a little something extra to keep you guys smiling too. So make sure you drop a follow over there. Always happy to see you in the chat, Brianna. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Ryan Rossellini said, Gary probably going to close at -200, so I already hammered my money. Let's go. And he also said, let's do it. So, fuck in, kids. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or Twitter with your Venmo handle and get it locked in, bro. Mine's pretty easy to find. There's not a whole lot of Olins in the world, believe it or not. Crazy. So, Cross, what do you think should be next for the kicking artist himself, Yair Rodriguez?
Diego Lopez. Book it right now. Make it happen. The fight has to happen. Everybody wants to see it. All that energy at the press conference. Yeah. The fight's already
in Guadalajara. Let's go. That's the one, bro. I think we're everybody's on that one. There's no other answer that makes sense. So with that being said, we'll keep it moving, kids, into the co-main event of the evening.
It's time!
That's right, folks. It is time for Crossover to break down this fight between Michael Chandler and let's go.
So going
Tell us how you felt about
fight,
this Patty performance.
So going into this, I was definitely riding with Michael Chandler in this fight, and boy was I wrong. Patty Pimlet, I was not a believer. He impressed me. Like, he came out here and really just dominated Michael Chandler from pillar to post, just dominated him. And when you think about it, nobody's dominated Michael Chandler like this. Oliveira didn't do it. Oliveira almost got finished. Justin Gaethje almost got finished in the first round. Dustin Poirier almost got finished in the first round. And Patty Pimlet comes out here, and it literally is one-way traffic. I was surprised. I think it was a little bit of Patty elevating, and I think it was a little bit of Father Time is starting to catch up to Michael Chandler. He just couldn't really get anything going. He never could get inside. Patty just was always on the front foot, going after Michael Chandler. At one point, Michael Chandler was running away from Patty the Batty. And I mean, hey, Patty the Batty is for real, and he is here. You know, he called out all the big name guys in front of him, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. And I mean, honestly, those are the next fights for him. I mean, the guy is literally one fight away from a title shot, which is wild. The guy that literally got a robbery victory over Jared Gordon is one fight away from a lightweight title fight. Crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Scousers don't get knocked out. And they didn't get knocked out on Saturday. Let's go. Obviously, I need to hit the barber with this crazy, crazy mop on the top. The Scousers definitely don't get knocked out. And we knew Patty was going to come out here and get it done on Saturday night, folks. He went out there and dominated Michael Chandler. Not only did he dominate him, but he ate his best shots, and they did nothing to him. Why? Because Scousers don't get knocked out. Michael Chandler, they don't get knocked out, bro. He ate the overhands like it was nothing.
That's pretty good right there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
He ate that overhand. Literally, I counted twice that he ate it flush, clean. And he's like, all right, just fix my hair because my chin's fine, kid. I mean, he was eating them like they were peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, brother. And he was a young teen just trying to get that protein. This was nice, bro. 121 strikes landed to 20, 80 to 11. Oh, and by the way, Michael Chandler still landed 4 takedowns out of 7. Great job with that 57.1% accuracy clip. Did you nothing because you didn't attempt any submissions and you didn't do a whole lot of offensive output with that takedown onslaught you landed. Paddy Pimblett just looked better than him everywhere. He looked longer, stronger, and just honestly like he was the guy that belonged in that cage, whereas Michael Chandler looked like a guy who was there for a good time, not a long time, or a good time, not a logical time. Paddy trained for this fight, and he dominated it. I think truly the fight to make after this is it's got to be Paddy Pimblett versus Hand Sanitizer Boy.
Really?
Hand Sanitizer Boy.
There's no better time.
The tape's already there. The tape's already there.
No better time.
The tape's already there. Let's go. So yeah, give me Hand Sanitizer Boy. Who do you have in mind?
Man, I got a few names.
And the hair just fluffs right back up.
And I can tell you like why. So I really like the Charles Oliveira matchup. The reason why on the feet, Oliveira I think is better, has more offense on the feet, but he is open defensively, has a lot of holes defensively. And then the BJJ, I would love to see those two guys grapple because it's the elite of the elite in the grappling and the BJJ. I think that would be a phenomenal matchup. Obviously, the Ilya Topuria is a great matchup. It's already got a storyline built in. And it's crazy to think, like, back then when that all happened and, like, where their careers have gone, not too long ago, people were like, oh, that's a bad look for Paddy. Not anymore. Paddy looks like he would definitely be a game opponent against Ilya Topuria. And then another guy that Paddy had a little chirping session with this during a fight week last week, Arman Tsarukyan. He's got to fight somebody. He's not getting a title shot, so he's got to fight somebody. And you know, they both said something towards each other. So I mean, honestly, I like all the matchups. I think they all would be great fights. And you know, Paddy is doing big things. He's trying to become a star.
Facts, bro. You're not wrong. And Brianna Frost said, I love the wig. Happy Paddy took home the W. Chandler was using his wrestling to his advantage in the first round. You're definitely not wrong. Look, in that first round, Michael Chandler did do really well, right? He got 2 minutes and 10 seconds of control time just in the first round. But it was after that Paddy really started to become privy to it. He's like, oh, he's going to come out here and use his wrestling, is he? So he started shooting takedowns of his own and also just getting reversals when he was in those bad positions. So fun fact, round 2, this is one of my favorite facts of the whole fight, or stats of the whole fight. Round 2, Michael Chandler got 2 takedowns out of 4 attempted. You ready? 34 seconds of control time. Paddy Pimblett, 0 takedowns attempted, 2 minutes and 15 seconds of control time.
Yep.
And then you switch to round 3. What happened? Because of what happened in the second round, Michael's like, well, I don't want to do that again because he was able to reverse me. It was a Thai-style sweep. Nasty stuff. Yep. So then Michael didn't shoot a single takedown. And Paddy started shooting takedowns. And he went 1 for 2. And oh, by the way, he got another 2.5 minutes of takedown control. So, I mean, like in the Marvel Comics universe, we call these people adaptoids, right? Like you might win a round on them, but then they adapt and they get better and they get smarter and they get stronger. That's how Paddy fought in this fight. Truly impressive stuff. This is the most impressed I've ever been with Paddy Pimblett in his career. Right. And I've said this for his last 3 fights. That there's something special to that. The fact that I can say this is the best performance I've ever seen from this kid 3 times in a row. Well, fuck, I can't wait for the 4th time. You feel me? Like, this is great. Lord of Pie said, the gap between Ilya and Patty is larger now than it was 4 years ago, man, if we're really honest. I agree with you. I have even more doubt in Patty beating him. I agree with you. Ilya has achieved greatness.
Facts.
I agree with you. But the fact of the matter is they have the beef, they have the tape, they have the build-up. There's so many things that they can use to build the marketing structure of this. And at the end of the day, the UFC is the #1 mixed martial arts business in the world. But the most important part of that statement isn't mixed martial arts. Isn't #1. It's business. That's why they're #1. This is smart business. If you want to build Ilya enough to sell out an arena in Spain or a stadium in Spain, you put him against the Paddy Pimbletts of the world that are much better at talking than him. He beats a Paddy, he steals his aura, he steals his fans. We've seen it happen in mixed martial arts. You remember what happened when Conor McGregor disappeared? We got a lot more Charles Oliveira fans.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what happened when Charles disappeared? We got a lot of Ilya fans who want to see the Dagestanis go down, yeah? There's a trend, bro. These people aren't just fucking appearing. It's the same dudes with different display pictures and different fans or different people they're voting for. So I think this is from a marketing standpoint. Ilya, even though he is at a far, far higher upper echelon right now than Patty, it's the fight to make. But also now I'm out of your pick. I'm not even if they said that, hey, we're going to give Patty one more filler fight and then he's fighting Islam. Cool. I think Islam washes him. And that's great for Islam.
Same.
That's the best thing that could happen to Islam's career. So sign me up. Like, as a mixed martial arts fan, like, I have favorites. I want to see my favorites win, but if something makes dollars and cents and it makes logical sense, bro, that's got my bet. That's got my vote. So there's just too many smart votes for this one, man. Speaking of smart votes, I maybe didn't take the smart vote in this next one. Cross. That's why I'm going to pour up my last shot of the night. It was a featherweight main event between the only Diego. Where are you? Lopez coming in against Alexander Volkanovski. And I got to be honest with you. This is the real reason I'm pouring the shot. It's not because Diego lost. No. It's because I lost. So I'm usually very smart with my hedging of bets, Cross. I'd hope to think that you can speak to this.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep,
I remember.
That's right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep. I'm glad that you had that reaction because I've been remembering it all day. Yeah. So I'm usually really smart when it comes to hedging the bets. This weekend, again, I'll always be honest at the very least. This weekend was not the smartest weekend for me. I thought one of the safer bets of the night was Diego Lopez to get one takedown or more, to get at least a takedown. So I had not one, not two, but 3 hedged parlays going into the main event. And all I needed for all 3 of them to hit, because they had hit everything else, was Diego Lopez to get one takedown. Do you know how many takedowns he attempted to get, Crossover?
None.
Yeah, none. Which is one less than the shot I'm going to take for that shit.
That had to hurt, brother. That had to hurt.
Bro. In the 4th round, I was like, can you just try? just grab his leg.
You need to do something different.
Bro. I think this is like the only UFC fight in his career that he did not shoot a takedown for. And folks, to that we say, you can't get them all right. So cheers to you. If you're drinking, raise one up with us and do a shot too. If not, that's fine. Take a sip of water with Cross. Stay hydrated with this guy to my right. We appreciate you all the same. What we don't appreciate was Diego Lopez not shooting a single fucking takedown attempt. We still love the kid. We still love you. Cheers, folks. It'd have been a lot better if we'd have hit those 3 bets, though.
So, personally, I don't think Diego Lopez loses any stock in this fight. The gap, was definitely in the fight, but I think more of the credit should go to Alexander Volkanovski. Volk showed he is still the elite at 145, And going into the fight, you know, I went with Volk. I just thought technically he was the better fighter. But I will tell you this, though. Every time they would come together, I would hold my breath because I'm like, please don't get hit in the chin. And Volk did get hit clean a few times. And I mean, his chin held up really good. And yeah, like I was really happy for Volk, you know, coming back off the 2 KO losses. The way I was looking at it going into the fight was just there is only one 145er to ever beat Volk. One. And that's Ilia Topuria. And he is a special guy. Like, I like Diego Lopez, but he's not Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, very special. And I think Volk all but made it a sure thing that he's the greatest featherweight ever now.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, man. Yeah, this was a hard fight. I really thought that Lopez was going to be the faster guy in there at the very least. And even then, like, he was faster, but he wasn't doing enough with the speed that he had, right? Like, he wasn't leading the dance. He was watching and thinking way too much. And what we've learned in watching this sport long enough is if you're watching and you're thinking, you're not actually giving yourself time to land these shots. It's the time in which you're thinking when your opponent is landing shots on you. So look, let's call a spade a spade. Diego Lopez came into this fight riding an absolute tidal wave of hype. I was part of that wave. I was riding the wave with him because I thought he was fucking cool as shit. I still do. We're gonna hit the sound.
Where are you?
Great hair, great freaking song. And you already know why it's synonymously played with Diego Lopez. He's finished tough guys left and right. He's unorthodox. He's dangerous. He's flashy. Everything's all the boxes are checked, right, kids? But Volk essentially walked in across from him on Saturday night and said, it's a lot of hype you got behind you, huh? Cool story, kid. Let me show you levels. And from the opening bell, he controlled the pace. Signature feints, sharp footwork, elite level fight IQ inside of there. And every time Lopez tried to launch something big, Volkanovski was ready and out of range and answering with a solid counter. I think that Lopez needed to do a little bit more with the counters. If I'm being honest, and I said this in the group chat on WhatsApp, right? Like in that fight, I believe it was the left hook, right uppercut. It was there every time, every single time Lopez threw it, but he didn't throw it enough. Every time he'd throw it, that uppercut would connect. And I think that's actually one of the shots that rocked Volk in that fight. And it's like God, what's the term that DC uses? He was taking pictures of his work.
Yep.
Right? He was taking pictures of his work. And if you've ever sparred in a high-level gym, you know very quickly that is not something you want to keep doing. Because when you stop to take a picture, they stop to knock your shit off. And that's what was happening just too much, too often. The body work, the leg kicks, the constant pressure, it all started to add up from Volkanovski. Lopez had moments. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he dropped him in the second round.
He clipped him. He dropped him.
Yeah.
And he threatened him, everywhere the fight went, except for the grappling. Volkanovski just stayed calm, stayed technical, and outclassed him over the distance of those 5 rounds. It was vintage Volk, composed, calculated, and ruthlessly efficient. He should have walked out to Roy Jones Jr. because we forgot, bro. Like we forgot. And it's me. I forgot. God, I wish knockdowns was an option for Lopez, so that way I could be even more mad that I didn't take that instead of the takedown. I'm never gonna. This is up there with. I swear, this is up there with Nunez.
The Nunez one? Yeah, I was wondering if that's the one you were about to say.
I'm never in my life going to say, oh, it's guaranteed money. Again, I'm never going to say that in my life again during the middle of a fucking bet. It was so close. For those of you that didn't see the comment I posted in the chat, I put a unit on each of these. 2-leg, a 3-leg, and a 4-leg. And everything hit except for Diego Lopez to get 1 takedown or more. And it would have turned 3 units into 17. So, not a great night. But luckily we're still up for the year, playing with house money, so we're not in the hole All right. As long as we don't end in the hole going into the half year mark, we're doing okay. Andrew Knott said the throat tick is crazy. It really is. You know that story, right, Cross?
Mm-mm.
Diego Lopez got into a motor vehicle accident. I think it was like some type of like street sweeper or something. I don't remember what exactly it was, but he got into some kind of accident that slit his throat open, like down the line. So he actually has a gnarly scar going down one side of his throat. And if you watch him fight, once they get into like round 2, typically, once sweat starts going down to the side of his head, once it runs across his neck, it itches the scar tissue.
Really?
So he constantly touches it. He's constantly like touching his neck. So I love ticks because it's from sparring. I really love ticks. That's when I really like started paying attention to things like that.
Lazy says he took a piece of iron rebar to the throat as a child.
That's what it was. Yes.
Jeez.
Rebar went through his fucking throat. That's what it was. Yes.
Jeez.
Horrific fucking accident.
I like that John Don comment.
If you guys had to corner a fighter who's fighting John Silva, what's the game plan?
What style fighter do you have? I think that matters as well. Do you have a striker? You got a grappler? You got a guy that's
give me like
well-rounded?
15 seconds to think about this. I'm literally like running scenarios in my head right now for John Silva.
I got an idea. I think with Gene Silva, you can't lead the dance because I think he just looks to counter. So you have to force him to go first, and then you have to try and counter him. That if you have a striker.
I'm gonna actually play devil's avocado here and play the exact opposite route. If I'm a coach and I'm coaching a fighter that's fighting John Silva, I'm gonna show them his last 3 fights. Better yet, I'm gonna show them his entire UFC run, in which all fights have ended in finish. All of those finishes have come by way of him taking momentum back and being able to step forward. You let this man step forward, he's gonna fucking crash into you, bro. And look, I know crashing water doesn't sound that terrible, right? But you can be the strongest, most durable boulder in the world. And if you have water crashing into you for long enough, it'll break down even the hardest rock. That's why Bruce Lee said be water. So what I'm teaching my fighter is to be water, right? But not in the fact that I'm just going to flow and let you, push me and I'm going to bend with that, because his fight IQ is really high. I don't know which fighter I'm coaching. I don't know what the level of tenure they have, the years of tenure they have. So let's just say that I'm putting someone in here that's maybe a little step behind John Silva, and I know it. I'm teaching them the school of Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Sean Brady beats 99.9% of people that let him step forward on them. We saw it with Leon Edwards. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Bilal has gotten one knockout in UFC history, and it was over that guy.
Yep.
Because he turned the faucet all the way up and waterboarded that kid. If you ask me to describe that fight, Sean Brady versus Bilal Muhammad, I would say waterboarding. He turned the faucet on. He never at any point in time turned it off. Sean Brady didn't know, he never had his time to find his grounding in that fight. But if you give him time to, he's going to fuck your shit up. I think if you do that to John Silva, I don't think he has a lot for you. You go watch his training videos when he faces better grapplers that put him on his back and stuff his takedowns or his shots or his actual landing shots.
Mm-hmm.
You can see there's a bit of frustration there. That's why he trains with such top level guys. And by you look at his training videos, you see him getting frustrated. I've seen it against one dude he trains with, and that's fucking Caio Bahalio, who's 2 weight classes higher than him. So not a problem that he faces. But you're asking me to tell you how to beat someone I've never seen be beat in the octagon? Closest thing I've got is him being beat in the gym. And that's a turn the water pressure all the way up and don't turn it down. You got to drown that guy, bro.
We'll see. We're going to find out. Because, the guy's a problem.
So okay, let me ask you this. You put him against Volk. Which game plan do you give Volk? You tell him to not push forward, or you tell him to push forward?
Honestly, you got to mix it up. You have to mix it up.
You got to. Volk is the one guy you can literally just tell, be water.
Yeah. Do what you do. Hand trap, feint, T-step, change it all. For real. And constantly giving the feints. You have to. Because, you could tell in the fight with Bryce Harper, the first round, not Bryce Harper, but Bryce Mitchell. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell won
who
the
the
fight.
fuck is Bryce Harper?
Yeah, he plays for the Phillies. He's the baseball player. Plays for the Phillies.
I was like, are you talking NBA or baseball? I don't watch either, but I know it's not MMA.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bryce Mitchell won. I don't know if he won the first round, but he landed more strikes than Gene Silva in the first round. And it was just side kicks, low kicks, just throwing out little shots here and there. And Silva was literally just getting reads, watching everything. And then the second round, got the finish after that. But with Volk, though, I think that would be a chess match. I really do. Because, I mean, you just watch Gene Silva fight. The guy loves to be in there. Loves to be in there.
He is really a true special person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is somebody that is the opposite of GSP. Whereas, like, GSP is like, I love training. I love being in the gym. The only part I hated was right before the walkout and the actual fight. Hate that part. Scared the entire time. Don't like being inside the octagon. It's just a weird feeling for me. Jean Silva is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you could tell Jean Silva, you don't have to do the dieting, nutrition, who cares? We're just going to have you fight every other week inside the octagon to get paid. Jean Silva would be like, yeah, let's go. Motherfucker's ready, bro. I feel like and then that pops up in the chat. That's
perfect timing.
Oh, that's good. I genuinely feel like this guy is someone who, if you could cut out the training part and the recovery part, if you find some kind of life hack like that, you put this dude in there every week and he's like, yeah, I'll sign the dotted line. I almost feel like if he was a billionaire, he'd pay you to let him fight, because that's just how his brain is hardwired. He's that guy. Same with like Carlos Prates. I feel like a lot of these fighting nerds, I don't know what the fuck is in the water at that gym, bro. We got to get it on tap in these American gyms because they got the right thing. Yeah. That's a fun fight, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Volk versus Silva literally is like one of those fights where when you think about it, if you're like an MMA purist, you almost get a little bit of like chills, right? Lazy Bed said, did y'all hear Silva's backstory? Wild. I did. I heard something about him having to watch his mom go through some very, very terrible situations that I'm not going to say on the live right now. I mean, that's a hell of a motivational factor to learn how to fight and defend yourself and others. So, I mean, good for him. Definitely good for him. Can't imagine going through that. But John Dong coming in here with the fire. Do you guys think Jean Silva KOs Steve Garcia?
I do.
I do as well.
I
do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally strong, to say the least. Yeah, man.
Fact.
Absolutely. Like, I've grown up in Louisiana. I've seen a lot of messed up things in my life for sure. But like hearing stories like that, I literally look up and I just thank God, like, whoa, could be a lot worse, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew Nance, you never heard that? You should look it up. Yeah. It involved his mom, 3 other men, and a very, very poor situation for any human being to endure, let alone their child to watch. So dude's been a fighter for a lot longer than what we've been able to see. And I think that's very, very commendable. Very, very strong, mentally willed young man. And with that being said, folks, like that's it. That's it for UFC 314. This was by far one of the best cards I've seen in the last few years. If we talk about top to bottom, left to right, front to back. The next card I know, like if you look at the prelims, right? Jocelyn Edwards versus Chelsea Chandler, Jacqueline Amarim, great BJJ phenom, versus Poliana Viana, and Cameron Simon versus Malcolm Wellmaker. You could be like, hey, if these are the first 3 ones started off, I don't know that I'm going to be tuning in. And if you said that out loud, or even to your head silently, I would judge you. Because the top 3 fights of that card are Giga Chikadze versus David Onama, Anthony Lionheart Smith versus Zhang Mingyang, and folks, come on, put some respect on this fight. Ian Machado Gary coming in against Carlos Prates. Let's go. You got to tune into this fight card. We have a week off. So I know it's going to give you a chance to miss them. If you have a significant other, they go away for a weekend. I know you're so much more excited to see them on Monday than you ever have been because you have a chance to miss them while they're gone. That's what the UFC are giving us this weekend, folks. Chance to miss them while they're gone. So take it, not for granted, but take it in stride. Do something fun outside. Get some sun. Feel the grass on your feet, the sand in between your toes. Because this time in 2 weeks, we will be talking about UFC ESPN. Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates, and I can't fucking wait. I'll be fresh back on American soil from Japan. Be breaking it down with my guy Crossover and Nano. And I cannot wait to see what you guys are saying in the chat, folks. And with that being said, that is it for UFC 314. That is it for this episode. There's 70 of you watching right now in the live stream. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. If you're not already on the MMAnomaly Show, do that now. If you're not already like, comment, and subscribe at Crossover MMA, make sure you do that now. And if you do none of the above, if you've just been sitting here ignoring us for the last 2 hours and 2 minutes, that's fine. We still love you. We still appreciate you. Those shots were still for you. But we still ask that you do these last two things. And that's this. Okay, folks? We ask that you keep on going and that you keep on growing. And of course, that you tune in next time. We'll see you.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.